The Deeds of Uzziah by Isaiah the prophet. According to the Bible, King Uzziah was considered to be a righteous ruler over Judah. His father was King Amaziah, and his mother was a Jerusalemite woman named Jechaliah. He was named after his mother. King Jotham was Uzziah's son. Uzziah was the king's father. The prophets Hosea, Isaiah, Amos, and Jonah were all active in their ministries during the reign of Uzziah. During his reign, the kingdom of Israel's northern kingdom was ruled by King Jeroboam II, King Zechariah, King Shallum, King Menahem, King Pekahiah, King Pekah, and King Hoshea. In 2 Kings 14 verse 21, the name Uzziah is also translated as Azariah. King Uzziah began his reign in Judah at the age of 16, and he ruled for a total of nearly 52 years. As has been done by his father Amaziah before him, he performed what was right in the sight of the Lord. King Uzziah sought the Lord during the days of Zechariah, who instructed him in the fear of God. This Zechariah is most likely a godly prophet to whom Uzziah listened. As long as Uzziah made it a priority to pursue God, God blessed him with a flourishing kingdom. Unfortunately, in Uzziah's later years, after Zechariah passed away, he committed a few errors of judgment. King Uzziah in the Bible is shown as a wonderfully intelligent and innovative king, under whom the state of Judah prospered. 2 Chronicles 26, verses 6 to 15, Amplified Bible. He went out and made war against the Philistines, and broke through the wall of Gath, the wall of Jabneh, and the wall of Ashdod. And he built cities near Ashdod and elsewhere among the Philistines. God helped him against the Philistines and against the Arabs who lived in Gur-baal and the Munites. The Ammonites paid tribute, money, to Uzziah, and his fame spread abroad, even as far as the border of Egypt, for he became very strong. Uzziah also built towers in Jerusalem at the corner gate, the valley gate, and at the corner buttress of the wall, and fortified them. He also built towers in the wilderness, and dug many cisterns, for he had a great deal of livestock, both in the lowlands and in the plain. He also had farmers and vine dressers in the hill country and in the fertile fields, for he loved the soil. Moreover, Uzziah had an army ready for battle, which went into combat by divisions according to the number of their muster, as recorded by Jael the scribe and Maaseiah the official, under the direction of Hananiah, one of the king's commanders. The total number of the heads of the fathers' households of valiant men was 2,600. Under their command was an army of 307,500, who could wage war with great power to help the king against the enemy. Moreover, Uzziah prepared shields, spears, helmets, body armor, bows, and sling stones for the entire army. In Jerusalem he made machines of war, invented by skillful men to be put on the towers and on the corner battlements for the purpose of shooting arrows and large stones. And his fame spread far, for he was marvelously helped until he was strong. God used him to defeat the Philistines and Arabs, and he built fortified towers and strengthened Judah's armies. He also commissioned skilled men to create devices that could shoot arrows and large stones at enemies from the city walls. He also improved the land, and according to the Bible, he loved the soil. The Ammonites paid tribute to King Uzziah, and his fame spread throughout the ancient world, all the way to Egypt's border. Unfortunately, King Uzziah's fame and strength led him to become proud, and this led to his downfall. 2 Chronicles 26 verse 16. But when Uzziah became strong, he became so proud of himself and his accomplishments that he acted corruptly, and he was unfaithful and sinned against the Lord his God. For he went into the temple of the Lord to burn incense on the altar of incense. He broke the law by entering the temple of God to burn incense on the altar. Only the priests were permitted to burn incense on the altar. By attempting to do it himself, Uzziah effectively declared that he was above the law. It was not a humble gesture. 80 brave priests led by Azariah attempted to stop the king. It is not proper for you to burn incense to the Lord, Uzziah. That is for the priests, Aaron's descendants, who have been consecrated to burn incense. You must leave this sanctuary because you have been unfaithful, and the Lord God will not honor you. Uzziah became angry with the priests who dared to confront him. Leprosy appeared on his forehead, however, when he was screaming at the priests in their presence before the incense altar in the Lord's temple. Uzziah, terrified after being struck by God, fled the temple in the middle of the night. King Uzziah was a leper from that day forward, all the way up until the day he passed away. He was barred from entering the Lord's temple and instead resided in a separate palace. Jotham, the man's son, took over his father's role as the ruler of the people.
So, he seized the censer and walked into a place he had no right to be. He lost all restraint because he was blinded by pride. In doing so, he pushed well beyond the confines of safety. Moments like these have a way of crystallizing the truth. Everyone could see Uzziah's arrogance, pride, disregard for the Lord, and his views on his and the priest's roles in this violent clash of wills. Everything is on display. Given Uzziah's long and distinguished career, 52 years in total, this was a devastating finale. A just conclusion, but nonetheless tragic. King Uzziah was a leper until the day of his death. He dwelt in an isolated house because he was a leper, for he was cut off from the house of the Lord. Then Jotham his son was over the king's house, judging the people of the land. In music, the most important notes you play are often those in the last few bars of the piece. You can recover from a rough beginning, but nothing follows those final chords except quiet. The audience's memory of your performance will be shaped by the quality of those final notes on the last page of the finale. Without a doubt, Uzziah got off to a good start. For most of his career, he provided God's people with a godly, safe, and wealthy atmosphere. However, the closing notes of his performance ruined the entire show. Take note of what his audience remembered. So Uzziah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the field of the king's grave, since they said he is a leper. So Uzziah rested with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the field of burial which belonged to the kings, for they said he is a leper. Then Jotham his son reigned in his stead. 2 Chronicles chapter 26, verse 23. Because he was a leper, he lived out the rest of his days all alone. Think of it. When he died, they buried him in a field adjacent to the royal cemetery, not inside it, because he was still regarded unclean. They didn't mark his headstone with "he was a king." They didn't even say he was a king who became a leper. By the end, his greatness was forgotten.